If you're an author or plan to be one, get excited because this podcast is for you. Book Marketing Mentors is the only podcast dedicated to helping you successfully market and sell your book. If you're ready for empowering conversations with successful marketing mavens, then grab a coffee or tea and listen in to your host, international best-selling author Susan Friedman.
Before I start the show and introduce you to this week's guest expert, I have a special request. In January, I'll be starting a brand new 6-week program called Marketing Mastery for Authors. Over the past few weeks, I've done some specific market research to find out exactly what you would want included in this program. On November 10th, I'm starting a beta version of the 6-week course at a fraction of the investment you'll make when it launches officially. If you want to know if it's a good fit for you, please apply sending me an email message at susan@avivapubs.com. That's Susan, S-U-S-A-N, at Aviva, A-V-I-V-A, pubs, P-U-B-S.com. You can also find the email link in the show notes on the Book Marketing Mentors website. Thank you in advance for your interest. And now, let the show begin. Welcome to Book Marketing Mentors, the weekly podcast where you learn proven strategies, tools, ideas, and tips from the masters. Every week, I introduce you to a marketing master who will share their expertise to help you market and sell more books. Today, my special guest is recognized as a top marketing strategist and business breakthrough specialist. Adam Kipnes can show any business owner in less than 45 minutes how to triple their current number of leads, double their sales, and increase their annual revenue by $30,000 to $50,000 or more without spending a cent on marketing or advertising. Adam is the go-to coach and advisor for many independent professionals, including accountants, realtors, real estate investors, attorneys, and medical practitioners. Under his guidance, several of Adam's clients have grown their revenue from under $100,000 to over $1 million. Wow. Adam, that is very impressive. And I really welcome you, and it's absolute pleasure to have you here on the show.
Thank you, Susan. I appreciate it, and I attribute much of my success to amazing clients. I'm just a guide to help them get where they want to go, but they put in the work. They're the ones who do everything that needs to be done. My success is really their success. That's how the world works, right?
Absolutely. And I actually cut short the fact that you've been featured in Forbes.com and your system's been used on NBC, CBS, ABC, and Fox. And you're the creator of the podcast, The Entrepreneur's MBA. Wow, I missed that part and I apologize, but hey, we're up and running, and I love to do some research about my guests before they come onto the show, Adam. And I was looking at some of the articles that you had written at Forbes.com, and I know you're part of their council. What struck me was an article that you wrote about not choosing your niche, but letting it choose you. And here I am, the author of Riches and Niches, How to Make It Big in a Small Market. That subject of niche marketing is near and dear to my heart. So I'm like, let's find out what Adam has to say about niche marketing, the right way, the wrong way of finding your niche. So take it away.
All right. And I think we're going to be a little bit closer to commonality on this than you might think. One of the things that I dislike about niche marketing and the concept of picking or choosing your niche is, why are you choosing it? Whether you're in the financial world or the accounting world and you say, I want to work with people who have $1 million, or I want to work with people who own their own businesses, or if you're a plumber and you say, I want to work with people who have 4 or more bathrooms. Well, do you already have those people in your life? Are those people that are already there? I like to look at it and say, step back and say, all right, who is around me? Who are my friends? Who are my colleagues? Who are the people that are in my life today? what commonalities do they have? Because if you want to work with all people who are buying $1 million houses, if you're a realtor and you don't have anybody that lives in a $1 million house in your current world, it's going to be really difficult to get those people. One, because you don't know them. Two, you don't know anything about them. And three, how are you going to find them? I like to look at a person, look at who's in their life and say, all right, what are the commonalities that these people have? Because you already have a niche, you just don't know it.
Yeah, and I would really agree with that as well. Often people don't know, and I go back into their background, their experience, and I say, if you were a nurse, for instance, you've got credibility in that marketplace. If you're an accountant or a financial planner, you've got credibility in that marketplace. So that's part of your niche. It might be a target, and there's that difference between target marketing being a little bigger than a niche where you're drilling down, and it might be, let's say, financial planning for baby boomers, female baby boomers. Then you're really drilling down further because you've got maybe expertise in that area.
And you're exactly right, because what will happen if you identify, I work really well with, and this is me personally, I work really well with small businesses and solopreneurs, people, cult of personality businesses, where the person who started the company, regardless of size, is still the person that drives the business forward, is still the person that does the business development. The reputation of the business is the reputation of that person rather than the brand or the name of the company. And I work with those people really well because I have a lot of them in my life. I know them. I am one. And for me, that's where I started. And then some things started to develop, some things I noticed in those same people. So I took the 5 or 6 people that were my ideal clients and I said, what else is there about them? And I got a little bit closer, as most of those people have a great business practice, right? They're great practitioners. They're good at what they do. They just haven't translated it to the revenue side of their business. They know what they're great at. They fulfill it very well. They just struggle on, what do I do today? What do I do right now? How do I get started? That's where I come in as coach and consultant and marketing strategist to build that out for them, to show them what they do today. So when they wake up, I call it pushing papers around their desk and call it work. There's a lot of my clients and prospects that go into the office, they move papers around all day, they answer a few emails, 5 o'clock comes around, and they're like, wow, I killed it today. I did some good work. But none of them are revenue producing activities. None of them actually moved the business forward. They were just doing the work. That's what appeared in my life. And now I do have a niche. That is something that I have because it appeared. I cultivated it because I looked around me and who was there. And that's what I encourage my clients to do, rather than saying, I want to work with people who want to buy $1 million house. If that's what you want, I can still build you a plan for that. But again, if you are around people that afford $250,000 houses, your commissions might not be as big as a realtor, but your market is much larger. The people that you surround yourself are much larger. The people that are in your phone, and we can talk about that in a little bit as a marketing technique, is much larger. You've got a much faster path to cash using your current market as your niche rather than creating a new one or finding a new one.
One of the, I'm going to say struggles, you use the word struggle, Adam, and I know that many authors really struggle with the whole concept of marketing. They often call it icky. They don't understand the difference between sales and marketing as well. So that's an issue. But approaching marketing in a way that you could enjoy it, what would be some of your recommendations?
I love that question. A lot of people market backwards, in my opinion. They tell people what they do, and then they spend time convincing people that they should buy their product. If I were to walk into a networking meeting, a networking event, I'm at a dinner party, and I tell people I'm a marketing and business strategist, and I help companies go from A to Z. I show companies how to get $10,000 to $50,000 in new revenue in 45 minutes. and I give them the exact steps to do it. Okay, interesting. If that person isn't a business owner, it doesn't matter. Everything I just said is wasted. But what if I said, I'm in business strategy. Do you own your own business? Right? Now I'm not telling him what it is. I'm not making him an offer to show them $10,000 to $50,000 in new business. I'm asking them what it is, where they are currently. And the reason I do that is because everybody buying anything in the world is on a journey. In a normal world, you wake up in the morning and you've got a big day of meetings ahead of you and you're a little tired. You worked late the night before and you're like, I need a jolt of caffeine. I need Starbucks. And you get in the car and you start driving towards Starbucks, and in your head, you're smelling the smell of Starbucks and the warm coffee in your hands or whatever you get there. And then your mind starts saying, do I really want to wait in line? Do I need to spend $4.50 on a cup of coffee? Am I going to be late to my meeting? And you've got these benefits and these objections. You're going through a personal journey on your path to deciding if you're going to buy a cup of coffee. Once the benefits outweigh the objections, now you've got someone that I would call a now buyer. That's somebody who's ready to decide, am I going to go to Starbucks or am I going to go to Pete's or am I going to go to Dunkin' Donuts, whatever the big competitor coffee shop is, or am I going to go local to the local shop? And what a lot of people do wrong is they're out there pushing their product first or their service first, and then they've got to back into the reasons why, and it becomes difficult and it's painful, and you feel like you're trying to convince people of things because you haven't figured out where they are on that journey yet. If I'm talking to someone and $10,000 to $50,000 sounds great, but they don't believe it, they don't think it's real, I've unfortunately lost them at the beginning. And so I want to find out and meet them where they are on that journey. And when you walk them through the journey before you make your offer, making your offers really easy, and it becomes a lot more fun.
Yeah, I go back to their message, the message in the book, because they wrote the book for a purpose. There's some passion, there's energy behind their message. And I feel that if they can convey that, then it's really important in terms of how they are seen by people who could buy what they have to offer. Does that make sense?
It makes a lot of sense. And we see this a lot in the sales world, that your mess is your message. I started a business, I went bankrupt, and I built it all back up again, and I want to teach others to do the same thing. Or I had this serious health challenge, and I overcame it, and here's how I did it, and you can too. That's a big theme for a lot of people writing the books and a lot of people in business. The thing I think that gets lost a little bit is it's not about the bankruptcy. It's not about the illness. It's about the overcoming the challenge. That could be the same book, Bankruptcy to Success, Illness to Health. It's the same book. The message is the result. What is the result you're trying to produce in other people? It's the story helps it along. The story makes it real. The story makes it interactive for the reader. But the result is, I had challenges, you have challenges, let me show you how to overcome them, is I think what a lot of people miss in the translation from book to marketing to sales.
And then taking that one step further, Adam, is to say, okay, I overcame these challenges. And if you have challenges in your life, you don't have to have gone through what I went through, but we all have challenges. And how can you overcome the challenges based on some of the principles, some of the strategies, the techniques that I learned, which I may not necessarily have planned to learn, but I did.
Right. And we all have those learnings in our life that become sometimes obvious, sometimes they're aha moments, and now we want to share it with the world. And again, it's about the recovery. It's about the ascension. It's not about the challenge. I mean, I had challenges in my own life, nothing health related, nothing financial related, thankfully, knocking on wood here. But I struggled at first. I had what I thought was a great message. I could help a lot of people, but I was so message first. And I'd be like, and I can do this for you, and I can do that for you, and I can do another thing for you, and then we're going to do this, and life's going to be great. And in my head, it was, I can totally make this person's business better. But they weren't there yet, right? They didn't know me. They didn't understand where I came from. They didn't understand why all of my great ideas were going to work, because I didn't walk them through that personal journey with me of how it can benefit their life.
I think that personal journey is very important. And starting on it, I think that's the scary part for so many of the authors, is that first step. And then the idea of the fact that this is an ongoing journey. Many authors say, well, how long do I have to do this marketing thing? And I'm like, well, as long as you want your book out there in the marketplace. So it never stops.
It never stops. And a lot of people look at marketing as a dirty word. They feel like the self-promotion is offensive. It's off-putting. It's putting people sort of on the defensive. And sometimes of marketing on. We're all on probably somebody's email chain where we get like 4 emails a week to buy their stuff. And at some point we get annoyed with getting all the emails and we unsubscribe, right? That's one type of marketing. That doesn't have to be you. There's other types of marketing that can be slower, that can be an understanding form of marketing, right? I have a couple of books. I've got a book called $14.95. It's all about the decimal. It's an operational efficiency book. And then I've got The Ultimate Revenue Breakthrough, which is more of a lead magnet, more of a way to draw people in, more of me to give. Here are steps that you can implement yourself to make more money in your business without spending a penny on marketing or advertising. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know how I can help you. Now, if you give that book to people, you sell that book to people, you put that book in front of other people, places, and things, it's going to come back. Marketing is designed to either go and grab somebody or let somebody grab you. Whichever your personality is, you can build a marketing plan around it. If you're an effusive, out there person and you aren't worried about hearing the word no, then by all means, go out there and talk to everybody about it. I wrote another article that was in Forbes that's the silver bullet to sales success, which is talk to more people, right? There is no more tried and true way to grow a business than talking to more people. Now, how do you do that? How do you talk to people if you are not a big fan of marketing? If you are not, say, like an outgoing personality, you're more of an introvert versus an extrovert, you can still market effectively and not make it feel like work. This is one of those opportunities. I love to talk. I tell people a lot that I make my money with my brain in my mouth. Something comes into my head, it comes out my mouth. And 9 times out of 10, it's really smart. The 1 time out of 10 that might not be smart, hopefully it's a learning experience for me and the other people I'm around. But being on podcasts, people need content. They want content. No matter what your industry, there's probably 1,000 podcasts out there where you can give the short version of your book and tell your story. And it's marketing. It's going to draw people to you. It's going to get your name out there. You can take your book and you can break it into emails, right? Each chapter gets its own synopsis in an email, and those become an email drip campaign where when you meet someone, you get their business card, they can get on your list, or they can become blog posts. They can become speaking topics. You can start your own podcast, and whether you have guests or not, you can essentially read your book in a story format through your podcast. Those are all very soft forms of marketing that get your name out there. So when it's time for someone who needs your services, they can look you up on the internet and you seem to be everywhere. Let's say you're a realtor and you speak to other realty groups, or you give presentations to homeowners, or you go to your title company and they sponsor a lunch and learn or a roundtable and you can speak there. There's lots of soft ways to market that are fun, but put you out in front of people and don't have to be super scary.
I love all of those. Those are great. And that whole idea Oh, I love it when somebody says to you, oh, I see you everywhere. And they've seen you maybe in 2 or 3 places, but your name is top of mind. And so they think there's that perception that they've seen you everywhere. But it's this sort of drip campaign that you've been talking about so effectively. Adam, how about mistakes? Our listeners absolutely love hearing about mistakes. Talk to us about some mistakes.
All right. Mistake number 1 is, I already did it. Stop marketing backwards. Stop telling people what your product is and then trying to explain to them why they should need it. Start by understanding them. Mistake 2, and I see this all the time, is people jump to tactic first. So they see that Facebook ads are the hot new thing, and they go and they drop a few grand on a Facebook ad campaign and get nothing in return for it. If you don't know who your client is, you don't know what your niche is, you can't do Facebook ads. The big mistake is people jump to these tactics that they think are going to work. They spend money on them and they get no return for it. I say take a step back and say, all right, who is that ideal client of mine? Look around the people that are your friends, the people that you have done business with, the people, most importantly, that have given you money, those clients that you do have. What do they have in common? Where do they consume their information? Where do they go to buy things? If you work with older people, they might be on Facebook to see what their grandchildren are up to, or to check in with their family, or to see old friends. Older people tend not to buy through Facebook. They're on it much more than you think, but they don't tend to buy from it. Where do you advertise for those people? And then mistake number 3 is thinking everybody's your client, right? It gets back to that ideal client, but in a mental way. They think, I can help everybody. I'm really great at helping this niche, this group of people, but I still can help everybody. And casting too wide a net in your head. Forget about the marketing side of it, just the mental side of it. If you think that you can help everybody, unfortunately, it doesn't allow you to focus on what you need to do. Stop leading with your product. That's a huge mistake. Stop jumping from tactic to tactic. Build a strategy. Where do you people go? Why should they buy things? If you know that, now we know exactly where to go. And then third, stop mentally casting a wide net, because that'll just eat up your time, eat up your patience, and literally make marketing not fun, because nothing seems to be working. Mistake number 4, I'm getting on a roll.
You've got a 4th one. Well, go for it.
I got a 4th one, which is jumping off something too fast. Let's say you go out and you speak at an event, or it's the local chamber, and nobody hires you. And then you say, well, that doesn't work. And you say, I better try Facebook ads. And so you go and do some Facebook ads, and you don't get a huge result. Well, Facebook ads don't work. All right, let's try blogging, jumping from piece to piece. Think strategically. Who do I want to serve? How do I want to serve them? Where do they go to consume information and to buy products? Now that you know that, now you have a strategy. Now that strategy will say, let's work that strategy for a while. It might not be the first or second podcast that you do, but the 3rd, 4th, and 5th, you may hit your stride. You may get your message down better. It may be a better audience. You can then learn from it. John Wanamaker said about marketing, he's like, the problem with marketing is 50% of my marketing budget is wasted. The problem is I don't know which 50%. In today's world, we can track all of this information. And yes, it takes time. But if you know being on podcasts about books with women podcasters has resonated well with my audience, well, now we know where to go. Let's go find more women podcasters that talk about books.
Very, very important. And I love particularly the fact that you say people are going after the different tactics because they think they see other people doing it and they think it works for them. Or somebody said, oh, yes, Facebook advertising works. You've got to go there. As you rightly say, they jump in and do it without the strategy. And then the other mistake I really relate to is when the authors come to me and they think their book is for everyone. And I say, yes, but we've got to start somewhere. You can't market to everybody. So drop that pebble in the pond and let the ripples flow out rather than, as you said, trying to cast that net too wide. Very important points, Adam. Thank you. If our listeners wanted to find out more about your services, how can they do that, Adam?
Thank you. The first place to go is to freebookfromadam.com. It's my ultimate revenue breakthrough book. It's 8 strategies that don't cost you any money on marketing or advertising. They're totally free to do, and it's a step-by-step manual. Here's what your message can look like. Tailor your message to follow this model, and the model's written right there. Here are people to joint venture with. Look at yourself and what you can do. What's your upsell? What's your downsell? Because if you sell one thing and someone says no, that doesn't mean they're saying no to you. They're saying no to that product at this time. What if you had a different complementary product that may be beneficial to them? Or what if you had a less expensive option? Not discounting your price, but a less expensive option. So you can go to that book, get the book. It's a super easy read, really step by step, and it's built to put money in your pocket immediately. Or they can go to my website, which is coachwithak.com. There's a lot of free resources and free information there that can help in their marketing. Or I encourage people to listen to my podcast, The Entrepreneur's MBA with Adam Kipnes. It's interviews with successful entrepreneurs and the lessons they learned along the way. Rather than reinventing the wheel, listen to what other people have done, how they've overcome their challenges, model it and implement it for yourself. So those are the 3 best places, all free resources so people can learn more about how to help their own business. And then obviously I'm the resource. You need a little more guidance. You need a little more help. Adam loved the book, but now I need to figure out how to implement it, or I need to get out of my own head and stop being scared about doing some of these things. Then all of my information's on those sites. Love to talk to any of you. One of the things that I wake up every day, I have this fundamental belief that I can change anybody's life or business with one idea, one question, or one conversation. It doesn't always work, but that's what I aim to do. And sometimes it starts with that one conversation where you have an aha moment and you turn your business and life around because of that. That's, my additional free offer. Anyone wants to talk for 45 minutes, I'm always open to it because I think I can change your life and business.
That's fantastic. Very generous. And yes, you just never know how you're going to affect somebody and what was that one idea. And I always love it with all these different ideas that I get from my wonderful expert guests. And I hope listeners will just take one nugget of information and put that into practice. And then who knows, that could skyrocket their whole business. So yes, thank you, Adam. And if you were to leave our listeners with a golden nugget, what would that be?
Here's my golden nugget around time in marketing. Most struggling businesses or newer businesses or less successful than they want to be businesses deprioritize their marketing. And they do it because they don't have, air quotes, time, because they've got so much work to do. What I want to do is leave this golden nugget to create time that you can now spend on your marketing. And that's by asking yourself these 4 questions before you do anything. Question number 1 is, what I'm about to do going to get me paid? We don't spend enough time on revenue producing activities, and that's why our businesses are not successful. If what you're about to do is going to get you paid, it becomes a high priority. If it's not, we need to rethink it. Question number 2 is, what I'm about to do going to serve my purpose? We all have a purpose. The reason your listeners and your clients wrote books is because they have a purpose. They want to get their message out there. Is it going to get you paid? Is it going to serve your purpose? Question number 3, does what I'm about to do need to be done by me? There's a lot of things that we do every day that are better done, faster done, and cheaper done by technology, by joint venture partners, by employees, by outsourced partners. Does it need to be done by you? Does it get you paid? Does it serve your purpose? Does it need to be done by you? And then the 4th question is, does what I'm about to do need to be done at all? There's a lot of things we do that pushing papers around our desk and calling it work that doesn't serve us, it doesn't serve our clients, but we do it anyway. And I'm not talking about wasting time on Facebook or Candy Crush. I'm talking about some of the work things that we think are adding value, but they're just not. If you follow those 4 questions, you're going to create a tremendous amount of time and efficiency, and you can use that time to focus on your marketing, talking to more people, getting yourself out there, reaching out and being on podcasts, writing a blog, using your book in multiple different ways, because now you've got the time and capacity to do so.
That sounds like a gold bar rather than a nugget, but listeners, you have gotten so much value for your money with this podcast. Oh, Adam, you've been amazing. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom. And thank you all for taking time out of your precious day to listen to this interview. And I sincerely hope that it sparks some ideas you can use to sell more books. Here's wishing you much book marketing success.
The time is now to take action and finally build your book-selling empire. And the great news is that Susan is here to help you. Visit bookmarketingmentors.com and sign up for a free 15-minute book marketing strategy session with Susan. She'll help you discover your first steps to marketing and selling your book. Only those who take action are rewarded, so visit bookmarketingmentors.com, and we'll see you again next week.
This podcast is a part of the C-Suite Radio Network. For more top business podcasts, visit c-suiteradio.com.